What if the walls around you weren't just walls? What if they could listen, understand, and respond as if they were alive? Imagine waking up, not to an alarm clock, but to the gentle warmth of your walls embracing you with the first light of dawn. A home that knows when you're tired. A home that senses your mood and shifts its colors to match the rhythm of your soul. Did you know that 70% of homeowners feel their space doesn't reflect their style? Don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe and start designing a home that truly feels yours. This isn't science fiction. This is the quiet revolution weaving its way into the heart of modern living. A world where fabric is no longer just fabric, where threads are more than threads. This is an E-Textile Barndominium. A home that doesn't just stand still, it breathes, it glows, it speaks without words. And here's the truth. This is not about technology for the sake of technology. This is about intimacy, about the unseen connection between you and the place you call home. Because when architecture begins to feel, something inside you feels too. Think about that for a moment. A barn, once the simplest of shelters, reborn into a sanctuary of warmth, intelligence, and texture. Walls that no longer separate but embrace. Spaces that don't just hold your life, they share it. And by the end of this story, you'll understand something most people never consider, that a home can be more than a home. It can be a companion. It can know you. And maybe, just maybe, it can love you back. It started with a question. What if architecture could listen? Not just stand still, not just shelter us, but live with us, breathe with us, adapt to who we are. For centuries, the barn stood as a symbol of simplicity. 4 walls, a roof, a refuge against the storms. Then came a bold idea. What if that humble barn could become something more? Strong, yet graceful. Rustic, yet undeniably modern. That's how the Barndominium was born. A space where raw timber and steel danced with sleek lines and open plans, where rural roots intertwined with contemporary dreams. But as time moved forward, something else began to stir. The world wasn't content with spaces that just looked beautiful. We wanted homes that did more. Homes that thought, homes that cared. First came smart homes. Lights that obeyed a whisper. Thermostats that predicted the seasons. Doors that knew your touch. And for a while it felt futuristic. Until it didn't. Until we asked, is this enough? Is convenience the same as connection? And that's where the story turns. Because beyond the screens and gadgets, beyond the apps and voice commands, a new material world was emerging. Not hard, not cold, but soft. Warm. Woven. A technology not bolted on, but sewn in. E-textiles, threads laced with life. Fabric that could sense, react, and respond. Not just as decoration, but as a living skin stretched across the bones of a home. Think about that. Your walls no longer mute, your floors no longer indifferent. Spaces that feel your presence, understand your patterns and change themselves to bring you comfort. This isn't about machines hidden in corners. This is about life stitched into every inch of your home. Because a home should not just protect you, it should know you. So, what makes this Barndominium feel alive? It begins with something you can't see, but you can feel. Every surface, walls, floors, even the very fabric that frames your world, is woven with threads of intelligence. Conductive fibers so fine they disappear into softness, yet strong enough to carry life through every inch of your home. They don't blink like screens or hum like machines. No, they whisper. A beautiful home is not a dream, it's an art, and you're the artist. Subscribe and start creating spaces that speak to the soul. Step inside, and the change is subtle, almost imperceptible. A glow that greets you when you return, a wall that softens its color as your heart slows, a floor that warms beneath your feet on a winter morning, not because you commanded it, but because it knew. It sensed the coolness in the air. It felt the hush of your footsteps and decided, you deserve warmth. Imagine waking before dawn. The house stirs before you do. The fabric walls shimmer faintly, casting a glow that feels like morning light long before the sun rises. You stretch, and the light deepens, soft amber, calm, reassuring. And then, as you move through the space, your mood becomes the house's language. If you're restless, the tones brighten. If you seek calm, they melt into muted hues that breathe serenity into your soul. But here's where the magic begins. This isn't just reaction. This is recognition. Your home remembers the rhythm of your life. It learns when you rise, when you rest, when you crave light, and when you need darkness. It becomes an extension of you, not through apps or settings, but through understanding. And with every passing day, the bond deepens. Transform your home, transform your life. Subscribe now and let's create spaces you'll love forever. Because the truth is, this textile doesn't simply respond, it evolves with you, around you. It learns your world, your habits, your heart. And that's what makes it alive. Imagine sitting by the window as sunlight fades. Outside, the day exhales its final breath of gold. And inside, something extraordinary happens. The walls around you begin to shift. Soft hues of amber melting into warm rose, then deep, soothing tones that feel like a sunset wrapping itself around your soul. Not harsh, not abrupt, just a gentle rhythm, like the house itself knows how to cradle the evening. Every surface invites your touch. Every thread holds a story. You run your hand along the wall, and it responds, not with cold indifference, but with warmth, like fabric whispering back. The texture isn't sterile, it's alive with possibility, soft and human. This isn't technology you hide. This is technology you feel, woven into the very fabric of your life. But beauty alone isn't enough. These threads are not here to waste. They're here to protect, to save energy, to think before you do, to breathe responsibility into design. When the sun floods your space, the textiles soften the glare without a single wasted watt. When the night cools the air, the fibers gather warmth where you need it, quiet, effortless, without excess. This isn't just a home you admire. It's a home that cares. And yet, the most powerful part isn't what it does. It's what it gives back. Simplicity, stillness, a sense that the walls around you aren't just things, but companions. Because when a home feels this alive, you stop looking at it as an object. It becomes a presence. A quiet, listening presence that understands the language of your life. And you realize something. The future of living isn't hard, cold, and mechanical. It's soft, it's human, it's woven into the threads you touch every single day. But when a home begins to feel alive, where do we draw the line? When does architecture stop being shelter and start becoming something more? We've spent centuries building walls to protect us from the outside world. But now, those walls are learning our names. They're listening, they're remembering, and that changes everything. Because the truth is, this isn't just about convenience. It's not about lights that turn on when you clap or thermostats that guess the weather. This is deeper, an intimacy we've never had before. A home that senses your presence, your patterns, your pauses. A home that knows when you're restless and softens the air, when you're anxious and dims the world into calm. And here's the question that lingers like a shadow. How much of ourselves do we give away to feel that kind of comfort? Will our walls know us better than we know ourselves? Will they feel when we feel, ache when we ache? And if they do, Does that make them alive? Or does it make us more dependent than ever before? Because with every thread that remembers, with every wall that responds, a bond begins to form. A bond that feels almost human. And that's both beautiful and unsettling. When your home greets you before you speak, when it anticipates your desires without asking, does that make life easier, or does it make choice disappear? We once thought of technology as separate. Cold screens, glowing devices, machines behind walls. But now it's stitched into the very fabric of our lives, literally. And as these fibers grow smarter, as they begin to predict, adapt, and understand, what happens to the line between living in a home and living with one? Maybe this is the future we dreamed of. Or maybe it's something we never truly imagined at all. This is not just a design, it's a new language of living. A language where walls speak without words, where silence carries meaning, where space itself becomes a conversation. And it's only the beginning. Imagine a home that heals itself. A tear in the fabric, it closes like skin, stitching itself whole again without a sound. Imagine walls that sense stress before you feel it, shifting light, softening tones, slowing your breath, guiding you back to calm. These are not dreams. These are possibilities already woven into the first threads of this future. And what about aging? Not just your home, but you, a house that grows old with you, adjusting its textures for comfort, its patterns for safety, floors that sense your steps and catch you before you fall, walls that remember your history and keep it alive, etched in colors only you understand. This isn't technology replacing life. It's technology becoming part of it.